Hey folks, Fernando doing a video for More Survivalists, and finally doing a video I've been promising for several months I think now, but finally talking about Bitcoin, trying to explain what it is, maybe why you want to get some of it for yourself. So before I get started with this video, I just want to thank those of you that have taken the minute or so as to leave a review for my latest book, Street Survival Skills. It's just maybe 30 seconds, but it really does help. If you liked it, if you bought it and you liked it, please do leave a review. That's hugely appreciated, especially big editorials. They have, they do their thing and they have all of a sudden hundreds of reviews. For us little guys, we just have to rely on our fan base taking a 20-30 seconds. It's all it takes, but I hugely appreciate it, and I've seen some new reviews, so thank you very much for that. Before I go on with the topic on Bitcoin, three things I'd like to say. First of all, I'm no Bitcoin expert, nowhere near. I barely understand it, but after years of being curious about it, I finally understood enough so as to make that jump, and a few years ago I bought a little bit of it. Very happy about it, of course, and that's basically all I know. I just know just a few basics. I bought some of it and trade a little bit with that. That's all I know. If you know more about it and you are correcting anything that I'm explaining in this video, some of the technical terms I'm sure I'm going to be getting wrong, but if you feel like, clarifying anything, use the comments below. Hey, Fernando, this isn't just like that. It works this way or whatever. That's all good. I'm just going to be explaining the layman terms of how I understood it, okay? Second, this is a piece of advice. I follow this myself. Don't put anything into Bitcoin that you're not willing to lose, all right? It's not like you're buying, gold and you have the physical thing in your hand. It is nowhere near as reliable in terms of I have this in my hand, I have control of this. It's just something that is a digital currency. It is online, and especially it is very speculative, and it can go up and down in price a lot. That would be one of the main things, so as to not put anything you're not willing to all of a sudden see it go down 20% from one day to the next. Could happen, has happened before, will happen again. The same way, if I had done this video yesterday and you had bought some of it, it already went up 12% since yesterday. So if I did this video yesterday and yesterday you bought some Bitcoin, today you made 12% of it on it. Finally, and regarding that, point number 3, if you are going to be buying Bitcoin after watching this video, you say, okay, yeah, I want to put a few bucks in it, follow the link below. That is from the affiliate program of Coinbase. Coinbase is the one I use for buying and selling Bitcoin. If you do your research, and I suggest you do, you're going to be finding out that Coinbase is by far the largest, most reliable place to buy and sell Bitcoin. It's just the way it's been for several years now. By far your safest. They use different authentication methods for any transaction you do, so you verify it with a key that you get in your cell phone. It is super secure, and the price in terms of buying and selling Bitcoin is always very good, very fast. You can buy and sell Bitcoin using your phone constantly. If you suddenly need money and you have to sell some of your Bitcoins, just a few seconds, you sell it, and you have your money. Or you want to buy some more because you think, okay, I want to get a bit more Bitcoin. You buy it in your cell phone in just a few seconds, and you have it in your account. So it's a great, Coinbase is pretty solid. And if you use the affiliate link, if you buy $100 or 100 euros in Bitcoin, you get 110. You get a 10% if you buy 100. And I get a 10% as well because of the new customer that I brought to Coinbase. So you make 10 bucks, I made 10 bucks. We're all both super happy, and Coinbase is definitely, without any doubt, the best way to go. Just do your own research. You'll find this out yourself. That's always best. So let's get to it finally. What is Bitcoin? Well, Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency. It's a decentralized digital currency without central bank or single administrator that can be sent from user to user on a peer-to-peer Bitcoin network without need for intermediaries. Right? So what it means is this: it's basically a digital currency, right? It lives online, lives on the internet. The thing is, some people think, okay, but if there's no power, no. If you don't have any electricity, if you don't have a phone, if you don't have a computer, you cannot access yes, you're not going to be able to buy and sell Bitcoin. That's the thing. But being decentralized, it has this advantage of, as long as certain nodes of Bitcoin survive, even if, let's suppose there's a solar flare and half the world fries. If just a small percentage of the existing grid survives, that's enough to sustain Bitcoin. Right, half the planet could lose all its internet, all its power, be left in a complete blackout, and there still would be Bitcoin. Right, it is decentralized, and no one really controls it. It has been attempted. Governments have tried to ban it, to regulate it, and then when they realized how stupid they were looking because there's no way of doing that, they kind of went back on it and said, okay, yeah, we're not going to be doing that. They decide not to do it because it's actually impossible to regulate Bitcoin. It cannot be done. You can attempt to do it, but you cannot really do it. That's one of the beauties of Bitcoin. Being decentralized, there's no bank, there's no administrative, there's no owner of Bitcoin. Number 2, Bitcoin works through what's called the blockchain. Blockchain is like a public ledger. Blockchain is a ledger of all the transactions of Bitcoins, who mined Bitcoin, who sent Bitcoin from one to the other. So it's all public and it's all available there since the origins of Bitcoin. That's how we know that Satoshi, the first guy that came up with Bitcoin, he mined a certain amount of Bitcoin, a massive fortune, and went from one account to the other since the origins of Bitcoin. And it's all anonymous because you don't know the names of those accounts. There's a certain number and there's a public key, which we'll get to in a second. So there is that, but you don't know who owns any of that. It's just moving from one place to the other, but it's all in this ledger. And the blockchain is linked through hash with one to the other, and it is just blockchain is some people, there's entire books written about blockchain. Many experts say it's even a greater revolution than Bitcoin itself, because it's such a powerful method of encryption and a constant verifying it on its own. Blockchain is what makes Bitcoin virtually impossible to hack. In theory, it would be possible to hack Bitcoin, but you would need like the processing power of half the planet. It is, for all practical purposes, you would already be overwhelmingly wealthy and in control of the entire planet if you're able to hack into Bitcoin. It's simply not possible. Even if you get a few thousand people to work together, a few million people to work together, you're not going to be hacking Bitcoin. It's just not possible to do that, and because of this powerful tool, which is blockchain, it is used for other purposes besides Bitcoin. Some people again think it's more of a revolution than Bitcoin itself. So number 3, it's a speculative free market. It goes up and down. There's been bubbles, bubbles burst, but there's always people that believe that Bitcoin still is worth something. Bitcoin is in theory worth nothing. It just doesn't even exist in the physical world. It's just a digital currency. Having said that, Bitcoin is a survivor, and maybe that's one of the things that it has for us prepper survivalists. Bitcoin has survived several crashes, 3 big ones by now. Started from zero. Today it's worth, let me tell you how much it's worth. It's about $8,000 give or take. It went up even up to 20,000 a couple years ago, I think. Then it went crashing down. Then it went up again. But throughout history, it keeps going up and up and up. The only thing people have regretted in terms of Bitcoin is not buying more of it in the past. That's basically the story of everyone that ever bought Bitcoin. And in the future, likely it's still going to be going up. In the long run, that's simply the way it is. I believe it's going to be fulfilling its own prophecy of, there's a meme floating around that, there's Neo from the Matrix asking what happens when a Bitcoin is worth $1 million. And it's like, who is it? No, Neo, no, it's the other one, I don't know, the black guy, Lawrence Fishburne, that says, what happens when it no longer matters? So, and that's great, because when it no longer matters how many dollars it's worth because it's worth 1 Bitcoin. That is kind of like the thing, like the prophecy of Bitcoin being the currency of humanity in the future. I believe it could be. I'm a believer. But some people are into this for speculation because they see it going up and they say, hey, I bought it tomorrow. I bought it yesterday. Today it's worth 12% more. Yeah, sure it is. And yeah, you can make some money out of that. But it's supposed to be a currency. And it's free market. It's just whatever people are willing to pay for it or not. It's just up to what the market wants, and that's something I like as well. But number 4, and this is something I really like about Bitcoin, is it has to be mined. What this means is, unlike your fiat currency, the dollars that you have in your pocket or whatever fiat currency you have, which was created out of thin air, someone, owner of a bunch of very wealthy guys decided one day they're going to be giving themselves several $1 million so as to give away to us peasants in the form of loans through different schemes, banks and such. Bitcoin needs to be mined. There's no making Bitcoin out of thin air. How does that work? Well, mining is actually a very well used term in case of Bitcoin, because even though you're not doing the physical labor, you need, first of all, you need capital, you need those machines, you need those processors. Usually graphic cards are what mines Bitcoin best. So you need those computers as to mine Bitcoin, and then you need electricity, you need energy so as to have those machines running very hot, very powerful processing power, and that processing power is what does the labor, the job. So you have a machine that is mining, like if you had a machine mining in an actual mine, and it has a cost of energy constantly going in, so you have to sustain that, you have to sustain your capital, and that's how you make Bitcoin. There's only a certain amount of Bitcoin that can be mined each day, and people mining Bitcoin fight among each other to see who mines most of it within 24 hours. It's only a limited amount of Bitcoin that can be mined each day. And the one that has the most processing power is the one that resolves the equation faster and earns those Bitcoins through that. That's one of the things about goals. Someone had to go and mine the thing, and if you didn't mine it, you have to buy it from someone else that did. Bitcoin is the same thing. Either you mine it yourself or you buy it from someone that at some point mined it as well. It's not created out of thin air. That's why I believe it has value on its own. Even if it doesn't physically exist, someone had to resolve something and invest money so as to get it. Someone had to invest resources, power, capital. It had to be mined, and that's one of the big beauties about it, right? And when you're mining Bitcoin, the part of it is integrated into this blockchain of the constant verification of the ledger. So it's constantly verifying itself these transactions. You cannot just and the ledger is fixed. It cannot be changed. You cannot go back and change and hack the ledger. The ledger stays as it is in these blocks that are constantly being updated and resolved by people mining Bitcoin and resolving these equations throughout the different nodes of the Bitcoin network. And finally, trying to get to the matter that mostly confuses people is, how is it I have Bitcoin? Okay, I'm going to be going to Coinbase, I'm going to be buying myself $100 of Bitcoin and getting myself that 10%, so I'm getting $110 worth of Bitcoin. Perfect. How do I keep that? How do I have it in my pocket? You don't, and that's the thing that confuses people a lot. So as you have Bitcoin, you need a Bitcoin wallet. A Bitcoin wallet basically is composed of 2 keys, a public one and a private one. The public one is perfectly fine. You can give it to anyone you want. That's okay. The public one is the one that people use that when they want to send you Bitcoin. When you say, okay, send me some payment for something, yeah, okay, send it to my Bitcoin account, you give them the private key. The private key is, you can share it openly on the internet, no problem about that. In fact, scammers and blackmailers, they usually will give you their public key so as to collect from you those Bitcoin and ransom Bitcoins, right? They will give you their public key. The private key is the one that allows you to access those Bitcoins. Those Bitcoins don't go anywhere. They're always there in the ledger, and what Bitcoin is itself. itself. A ledger of this account owns this amount of money, this amount of Bitcoin, and this account has this amount of Bitcoin in it, and that's basically it. You just use these keys so as to access the Bitcoin that is in the network itself, and use it and move it from one place to the other. All right. So as to have Bitcoin, you need a Bitcoin wallet, which is composed of these two numbers. These two numbers are like long ass pieces of text, which if you're a genius, you could memorize, like half a page of code. Yeah, it supposedly could be done. Usually you have either a Bitcoin wallet, you have it in your cell phone. If you go and you download the app of Coinbase, that will give you a Bitcoin wallet, or any other cryptocurrency. You can have it in the same wallet, in a same wallet as well. But to have a cryptocurrency, you need one of these wallets. So with your Bitcoin wallet, you have your Bitcoin. You have access to that ledger and move it around, you receive, send, and such. You can also have it in paper. How does a paper wallet work? Well, it's those two numbers. It's a public key. It's not a number. It's like a combination of words and letters and super long. But it's basically a public key and a private key. And the way you do a paper wallet is you download the program, you go offline in case there's a hacker or anything watching what you're doing, so as to not have access to that. So you go offline, you print it, and you have a piece of paper with those two keys. And using those two keys, you can access your Bitcoins. There's been people that committed suicide because they lost their keys, and there's simply no way of going back. There's people that had, $10 million worth of Bitcoin in their computer. They threw away the hard disk with those keys, and they spent fortunes trying to recover that to no avail. It's impossible. You will not, you just cannot hack it, you just cannot recover it because it's decentralized. There's no administrator responding to any of this. So once you lose it, you're done. But if you're careful, it is impossible to be hacked, be lost, as long as you keep those keys. There's also the possibility of you having it in a physical wallet, which is like a flash USB drive, like a memory stick with a little screen, and you have a little number that you punch in that, and you use that little memory stick. You connect it with your USB, and through that you access your Bitcoin wallet without actually putting that information in the PC which you're using. Most experts consider, that's what I use myself, most people consider that the physical wallet is the best way to go if you're going to be having a little bit more Bitcoin, or you want to have it's safer, and you can move it from one place to the other. You can have some Bitcoin in a paper wallet, you can have some of it in your cell phone, in your Coinbase account, and some in your physical wallet. I'll leave a link for the physical wallets that are sold in Amazon as well. It is probably the safest way. The physical wallet also comes once you set it up. You generate a 20-word key, which allows you to recover your original private key as well. So you have that sheet of paper with those 20 words, which you keep in a safe. Some people use like metal engravings in case there's a fire, but basically you don't want to lose that. If you end up losing or breaking, or something goes wrong, or it just burns your physical key, you have that so as to recover it. And that's kind of like the best way of having your Bitcoin safe. But guys, basically that's what Bitcoin is. I'm no expert. If you have any questions and I can't answer them, or if you have any more knowledge and you want to share it there in the comment sections, by all means do that. Folks, that's all for now. Remember, if you want to buy Bitcoin, use the link below from the affiliate. You will get that 10% if you buy $100, and I would appreciate it as well myself. See you on our next video. Have an awesome day.